Yes, I read the longer version of the gospel. The benefit of that is a shorter homily. I thought that last night. I said, I can't read the long one and then give the long homily. That would be wrong. Earlier this week, I'm as guilty as everybody else of scrolling through the smartphone, right? Thinking I'm going to find information, because all the news channels, right? That every one of them reports the facts all the time. So I do scroll from time to time. It's a bad habit like all of us. But I found one little report there interesting. There was a man who went on a diet, right? And he was very good with this diet. In the morning, he would have, his goal was 1,500 calories. I think that was his goal, 1,500. So in the morning, he had 500 calories for breakfast, full of protein, full of fiber. At lunchtime, another 500, full of protein, a little carb, because you got to have a little bit of everything in there. At nighttime, for dinner, he had another 500. So he achieved his goal. But he said the problem was after that, he had 4,000 calories past 8 o'clock at night. And there goes his diet. I have no such problem. I don't go on diets. No, our Lord's bounty and I are long-term friends, and I do not plan on tarnishing that relationship. But it did make me think, yeah, the man's on a diet. Thinking of today's gospel, our Lord is warning us that to be vigilant, when does it matter most? Just like we teach our children and even our younger children and our young adults and us, all of us, vigilance matters most, just like character. When it's tough, and oftentimes at the end of the day when we're getting a little weary, we've had a good day, we fought the good fight, it's at the end of the day, and our Lord cautions us on this. He could come in the second or third watch. Much of today's gospel, and it's the reason that I read the entire option, longer version, because it's unsettling. It's very unsettling. I will come at the unknown hour, unknown day. When we hear that, it unsettles myself, right? It's a little daunting. I'm sure maybe you're like myself at different points in your life, and I think, well, last week would have been a good time because I was on track. I was on track with my prayer life. I was on track with my relationships with others. Certainly after I remember receiving the sacrament of confirmation about that, different times. But vigilance means over time, especially as we said, those times when it's hard. St. Peter today himself has probably said what we have all said about the attempt to live a virtuous life. He said, Lord, do you mean this for us? Do you mean this for me? Or is this for everybody else? I can't help but to think that maybe Peter was just being a little bit, dare I say, prideful, a little arrogant there. Yes, Peter, by the way, everything I say pertains to you, pertains to the apostles, pertains to everyone. See, the parables are deliberately abstract. And it sounds like Peter wasn't getting it. So what I love about today's gospel is right after Peter asks the question, our Lord responds with a parable. He doesn't answer the question directly. Parables are deliberately abstract. They're deliberately abstract, and hopefully Peter and the apostles and us realize it's in their abstractness in which our Lord speaks to us individually and collectively in a very deliberate manner. Peter questioned it, like I said, himself. He maybe thought, as we do from several times, like the children throughout the school year have virtues. And each month we look at a certain virtue. And I wonder if at times when we may have been not like Peter, will say, well, this virtue really does not apply to me because I have this one covered. Do you? Do I? Friends, it's in the thinking of Peter, Lord, are you talking to me? He wasn't getting the point, and the point is brought out at the end of the gospel. As I said, the Lord is, I'm in favor of our Lord's bounty. He has given all of us a bounty in some way, shape, or form, in talent, in treasure, in gifts, in abilities. What Peter didn't get, and I think what sometimes I don't get myself, it is not meant for me. It's meant for others. The gifts we were given is given to you, but it's not yours. It's meant to be given and shared, which is why our Lord at the end of the gospel says, be careful those who are given gifts and they are not spreading their talents, their gifts with everyone else. Several years ago, we all have them now, right? It's in our pocket with our keys, right? There's a panic button on there. I'm coming out of an event, and if my mind's eye tells me, I think it was at a Phillies game. And this is the first time that panic button was put on the car, so I don't know how many years ago it was put there. But as I'm coming up to the car, I really realized that, all right, I'm in this section, but I don't know exactly where my car is. And I didn't want to be that guy who didn't know where his car was, right? I didn't want to be, all of a sudden, I'll have to say that I panicked in my mind a little bit too. I realized, wait a minute, this new car has a panic button where the lights will turn on. So immediately, as if I knew the answer, I just reached in my pocket, hit the panic button, and the lights came on. And I knew exactly where my car was. So see, right there. It's right where I thought it was. Friends, just like the beginning of today's gospel, our Lord does not want us to fear. Do not be afraid, little flock. At the end of the week, I had a much more fruitful experience when I was listening into a men's gospel group on Friday morning. And as we said, the parables speak to us individually and collectively. There was one gentleman on who said something that I need to keep reminding myself. At the end of the gospel, the thing that we fear is our Lord is going to come to us with the expectation, with the hope that our lives aren't centered on us, that it's centered on others. But here's the point. When we hear about people dying, our Lord coming, it's even called passing. Well, they passed on. Our Lord comes to us. Not leaving. Our Lord comes to us. As I said in the beginning, our Lord, in the very beginning of the gospel passage, little flock, being very tender, little flock, do not be afraid. Our Lord doesn't want us in those times when we are trying to be vigilant with virtue, in times when temptation knocks on the door, when we're in the second and third hour, at dark times. He doesn't want us to hit the panic button. He wants us to hit the prayer button. Continue to look to him. All we have to do is look to him, because his sole purpose is to come to us. Hit the prayer button and ask our Lord, Lord, you can get me through vigilance, through this time, good, bad, and otherwise, continuing to show me the way, continuing to be the light. But in doing so, help me to realize that in the end, it's not about me. It's about others, which is exactly the reason you came to earth.